For March 21st, 2022. Glad that everyone could be here today. I think it's a wonderful day. We're going to start off, we usually start with our invocation and pledge, but I'm going to recognize Commissioner Lancaster for a brief statement, and then he will give us the invocation and the prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Adams. If we may, I'd like to just have a moment of reflection for my good friend and possibly yours, Sheriff Earl Moose Butler. Just a few comments. Those who have been loved don't go away. They walk beside us every day, often unseen, often unheard, but always near. Still loved and ever dear. Sounds like the Earl Moose Butler I've known for many years, especially while attending Massey Hill High School as a young boy. At the Hill, he became our beloved and respected Moose, a nickname given to him by our loved and legendary coach, Y.W. Howard. Moose was a gifted athlete. He was a high school All-American football player. He was a star basketball and baseball player. However, Moose never talked about himself. Fame was not in his future. He was proud of being from the Hill. The Moose I knew became an individual admired by so many because Moose Butler was a man of integrity. He was trustworthy. He was honest. He was dependable. He was loyal. He was very supportive of others. He was fun to be around. Moose was a professional. He was also a gentleman. He was a family man, a devoted husband and father. The Moose that I knew and the Moose that you know, he knew that leadership is not an action. It is an action, it's not a position. Our Moose had empathy. Our Moose often took a little more than his share of blame, but never wanted to take any credit. Moose wanted to catch people doing something right instead of doing something wrong. Moose Butler often didn't wear a badge, and Moose Butler did not have to be first in line. The life of Earl Moose Butler should remind each of us that the joys will be greater, our love will be deeper, and our lives will be much fuller. Thank you, Lord, for sharing with each of us our friend, Earl Moose Butler. Would you please stand and pray with me? Father, we come to you this evening asking for your divine guidance, asking for your wisdom and support as we begin this meeting. Lord, help us to encourage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of our loved community, Cumberland. As we leave this place this afternoon, Lord, we ask that you would surround each of us that has gathered with your love. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need to stand up so you can put it. Push.
Push it or not.
Now you don't have to get everybody pushing your head around.
At this time, we have our Fayetteville Cumberland County youth members. I'm going to ask them to step to the podium. And, we spoke a little bit earlier today, but I'm going to present them their certificates. Always get on the camera. Olivia Cody, Fayetteville Cumberland County Youth Council, for outstanding service as a voice for the youth in Cumberland County community and for focusing on the betterment and promotion of our community. from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners dated this 21st day of March, 2022, signed by the chairman, Glenn Adams. And Ms. Marietta Jensen has the same certificate of appreciation, and we want to thank you. I won't read it again, it's the same one, but thank you for coming tonight, and it's your turn.
Thank y'all. Good evening. My name is Olivia Cody. I am a junior at Northwood Temple Academy. I am the membership chair of the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council and the vice chair of the North Carolina State Youth Council.
And my name is Marita Jensen. I'm a sophomore at Terry Sanford High School and a member of Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council. We are excited to report to you about FCYC's new project. In support of Women's History Month, the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council created a unique initiative selected to support Women's History Month and the shared desire to improve women's lifestyle locally. This initiative is called the Period Project. The main goals include assisting those in our community struggling from period poverty, a lack of access to menstrual products, education, hygiene facilities, or waste management. We are collecting items such as pads, tampons, liners, skin-safe wipes, new underwear, dark chocolate, Medol, and peppermint. We will build period care baskets to be donated to those in crisis or in need with these items. This drive ends on March 31st, so check our IG at NCFCYC to see where you can donate these items.
Last week, Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. for the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference. The National League of Cities, or NLC, is an advocacy organization in the United States that represents the country's 19,495 cities, towns, and villages. For the past 2 years, FCYC has had to attend NLC's Congressional City Conference virtually. But for the 2022 conference, we had the opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. once again. FCYC had a total of 6 members who attended and represented well. Not only did we participate in conversations to spark change in our communities, but Ramey Mack, our FCYC chair, presented to youth delegates at the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference. Ramey led and gave a great presentation. While we were there, we spoke about issues in our country that we as young adults can impact and change. Some of those being social injustice, mental health, civic engagement, and networking strategies.
We are working hard and making change happen in our community. Thank you for your continuous support to FCYC, and we thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak.
And we're thankful that you all are coming to see us tonight. We know you do have another meeting. They are very energetic young ladies. They got another meeting. They're going to stay with us as long as they can. If we don't talk too long, they might be to the end. So that's just a nod to the commissioners there.
I thought it was.
So if y'all come around and shake everyone's hand, the rest of them want a picture with you all. I took mine a little bit early. So.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, he graduated from Terry.
Yes, yes.
All right, right here.
Because we normally hear about 9 bars.
Where's Curious
Sanford is down.
That's right, that's all 5 of my kids. So,
Okay.
I'm kind of partial towards it too.
I'm going.
Come on.
All right, y'all be good. Stay right over there. And y'all will come back up if you're still here at the end. And I know the Boy Scout group came with someone else, but if whoever the leader of the Boy Scouts, could just stand up and tell us the troop number. They're here, and so we at least like to recognize them. If you come to the mic and just, at least I know they're here for another issue, but I always want to recognize the Boy Scouts.
Yes, sir. It's actually Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts. Oh, Cub
these
Scouts.
Are, yes.
Okay.
These are PAC 787 with the Sandhill District. They're here to observe, and if they have an opportunity to speak to a commissioner when the meeting is done, they would love. Their job is to listen and then ask questions, so you can test them at the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I don't know how long this is gonna be. If they would just come on and walk around now and at least shake everybody's hand, yeah, y'all, I know y'all want to. Have them come around, because they may have to go to school tomorrow,
Yes,
might be asleep by the
yes.
time this is over, and may have to leave, so.
We'll have snoring kids in the back.
You know,
Hey, how are you doing? Nice. Hey, buddy, thanks for coming. How you doing? Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming.
come right on up here so we can get a picture, right on up here. Yeah, we all like the pictures now. I don't know if they might not be tall enough to get a picture.
Yeah,
Look, okay,
Yeah.
now the commissioner said y'all come right
Hey,
on up here.
come on around.
Come on
We're gonna
around.
let you be in the front.
Oh, no, okay, they bringing them all in. Y'all, they talk about me.
hey,
Come on up. Come on up. Charles, back up a little bit. Let you just slip right in here.
I'm right here in the front.
You see what you can see where the magic happens.
There you go. Don't look at my
Come on.
You're right there. There you go. All right. Y'all don't get, well, look, they want one down there, so move down, Jill. Everybody wants a Cub Scout.
There you
so.
go.
Okay. Smile.
Hold on a minute, Charles.
Somewhere.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
1, 2, 3.
are they smiling?
Smile.
Are y'all smiling?
Smiling? Yeah. There we go.
All right, thank you all.
All right.
They're not
No,
as
you
shy
go
as
that
they
way.
pretend to be.
Whichever way.
Which way?
Go that way. It's just as easy to go either way. See now, let's get something.
What? They know it. They know it.
Yeah.
They know it. Yeah, and hungry. Don't forget, that's the third time.
Yeah, that's why I got thrown out.
Handshake. Gotcha. Won't you just stand up? Nice to
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't think so. I hope not.
And tonight is a night of celebration. So we have another presentation. So let me start off, and you can see all the blue and white from Fayetteville State. Fayetteville State University, Cumberland County Alumni Chapter sponsors the Hometown Broncos Legacy Pageant to support a general scholarship and endowment to help students in Cumberland County. For the past 6 years, the pageant was reorganized to focus on scholarships. There are 2 categories for males and females, ages 5 to 12, Little Miss and Master, ages 5 to 8, and preteen Miss and Master for ages 9 to 12. The pageant is usually held 2 weeks prior to FSU's homecoming parade. We're a little bit off key because of the pandemic. It is my honor. I serve as the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, but also serve as the chairman of the Board of Trustees at Fayetteville State, so it's a double honor for me to be here tonight. And the 2021 pageant winners was Little Miss FSU runner-up Isabel Elliott, who is the daughter of Mrs. Natasha and the late Mr. Ivory M. Elliott. She is a second grader at Morganton Road Elementary School. Isabella is the proud granddaughter of Mrs. Deborah Slaughter. She is a very talented dancer. We also have Little Miss FSU Queen, Kara Covington, who is the daughter of Miss Demetra and Jamaica Covington. She's a third grader at Fayetteville Christian School. She performed in the Nutcracker at Fayetteville Little Theater 2021 Christmas production. And then we do have Miss Preteen FSU. Come right on up. You're going to be right up here with me. I always like beauty right beside me. Makes me look better.
That's where
You hear that back there? You see that? Look at that. That's why.
And that's why you down at the end.
Miss Preteen FSU, Amara Carrington McCrae, is the daughter of Mr. Thomas and Kawana McCrae. Now, you all understand Ms. Kawana McCrae is the mayor pro tem of Hope Mills, and so she couldn't be here tonight because they have their own meeting, so she'll be able to watch it Watch us on TV. She's going to be jealous that she's not here. She's a 7th grader at Hope Mills Middle School. She was recently recognized on 107.7 radio for her achievements for Black History Month. I'm going to give you the mic for just a moment if you want to introduce and say anything to these lovely babies.
My name is Amaya Carrington McCray. I'm a 7th grader at Hope Mills Middle, and I'm 13.
And Mr. Preteen FSU was Jarrell McGeechee. Oh, is he here? No. That's you, the dad? Well, come on up, Dad. I mean, you can stand on up here. Just stand up where you are then if you don't want to come up here. All right. All right. He's the son of Mr. Jarrell and Dominique McGeechee. I got you. He is a 5th grader at Rockfist Elementary School. Jarrell recently won 2nd place in the Cumberland County District Spelling Bee. He has appeared on television numerous times and at organizations performing Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream. And so we want to thank the FSU, Fayetteville State University, Cumberland County Alumni Chapter. If you all want to come up, who's the spokesman for them? Come right on up here and say a word. And we'd ask all y'all to stand so people can see you. All right. There you go.
Good afternoon. I'm so proud of the last 6 years that I've worked with the young ladies and young men with raising scholarship money for Fayetteville State. Within the 6 years that we started, we have 2, the general scholarship and an endowment. We raised over $100,000. So thanks to God, and thanks to some of you who in here who supported us during each pageant, we say thank you. And again, to the County Commission, we thank you for allowing us to visit with you once again. Any questions?
Yeah, you take my chair right there.
Congratulations.
She is queen twice.
All right.
She was Little Miss FSU and she won, and now she is preteen FSU.
Miss Preteen. Charles wanted up here next to him, so come on around.
Share the beauty.
Share the beauty. Yeah, you gotta stand up one more time.
Tommy, they're not talking about you.
I know, that's okay.
No, we're not talking about her yet. Hold on one second. She got her picture earlier too.
One, two, three.
Move over there.
2, 3.
And Chairman Adams, if you don't mind, if I could have just a second here, I would be remiss if there's 2 individuals that I'm very fond of, very near and dear to my heart, Mr. and Mrs. Monroe. And if Miss Monroe would stand, please. This young lady
That's all I have to do.
This young lady happened to be my former 8th grade teacher at Alexander Graham Junior High School. Isn't she lovely?
Is she gonna speak about that?
Let's hope not.
And I know if you want to stay, you can, but if you want to leave, but I ask you to stay for one moment. And you can leave after this presentation because I heard her talk about Black history. I heard some of the other kids. So this last presentation is special, I think. It says, we about ready? As we observe Women's History Month, many may not know how recent it really is. In 1978, the Education Task Force of Sonoma County, California Commission on the Status of Women decided to celebrate women and their accomplishments by creating Women History Week beginning March 8th which was my birthday, in correspondence with International Women's Day. You do like that plug, huh? During that week, women taught us about unsung female heroes and inspired and uplifted each other. As years passed, the celebration spread across the nation, and in 1981, Congress officially declared March Women's History Month. It is vitally important to our society that we recognize the monumental achievement of women because, unfortunately, they did not always receive the recognition they deserve for groundbreaking inventions, record-breaking accomplishments, and more. Ruth Bader Ginsburg once said, "Women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception." I believe this to be true. And each and every day here in Cumberland County, there are amazing women who make decisions to steer this county in the right direction. Tonight, I want to formally observe the elected women official within Cumberland County. Please pay attention to the screen in front of you for our Women's History Month presentation in their honor. Honoring women elected to office in Cumberland County. Cheryl Hudson, Councilwoman, Eastover. Kimberly McPhail, Councilwoman, Eastover. Kathy Jensen, Mayor Pro Tem, Fayetteville. Shaquila Ingram, Councilwoman, Fayetteville. Yvonne Kinston, Councilwoman, Fayetteville. Courtney Banks McLaughlin, Councilwoman, Fayetteville. Scarlett Hall, Commissioner in Godwin. Jackie Warner, Mayor of Hope Mills. Kawana McCray, Mayor Pro Tem, Hope Mills. Joanna Scarlota, Commissioner, Hope Mills. Francis Collier, Mayor of Linden. Barbara Denning, Commissioner, Linden. Betsy Small, Commissioner, Linden. Kia Anthony, Mayor of Spring Lake. Robin Chadwick, Mayor Pro Tem of Spring Lake. Sonia Cooper, Alderwoman, Spring Lake. Adrian Thompson, Alderwoman, Spring Lake. Jennifer Weaver, Commissioner, Wade. Deanna Jones, Vice Chairman, Board of Education. Alicia Chisholm, Board of Education member. Judy Musgrave, Board of Education member. Carrie Sutton, Board of Education member. Donna Van, Board of Education member. Susan Williams, Board of Education member. Monique McMillan, Soil and Water Conservation. Lena Simmons, Soil and Water Conservation. Helen Crumpler, Danielle Osborne, and Lisa Reeser with Eastover Sanitary District. Lisa Scales, Clerk of Superior Court. Claire Hill, Superior Court Judge. Tony King, Chief District Court Judge. Caitlin Evans, District Court Judge. Cherry Salamack, District Court Judge. Frances McDuffie, District Court Judge. Tiffany Whitfield, and I think she's here. I think I saw Tiffany if you stand. Tiffany Whitfield, District Court Judge. Diane Wheatley, House of Representatives. And if I could get Mr. Evans, if you could escort you and Mr. Booth, if you could escort Commissioner Stewart down. You know, I have a church member who says it's a poor frog that won't croak in his own pond, right? So we're going to croak a little bit tonight because I have two of the ladies who are here with us, and it is Women's History Month. Escort, yeah, you got to escort. Get the other on. And we're here to, come on up here, to recognize Commissioner Tony Stewart, who is the Vice Chair of the Vice Woman, I'm sorry. See, it is Women's Victory Month, so they would get us straight. Chairwoman of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners in her second year and in a leadership role, and that's what women do. I'd like to present you this, y'all be on, y'all got to pay. And if you'd like to say a word, take that, Charles. Yes, there you go. Oh, get up yourself and get y'all picture.
I was very concerned. Thank you to my fellow commissioners. I am honored to serve this community. I am honored to serve with these amazing commissioners. I have learned so much from each and every one of them. They are special in their own way. And I am just honored to be able to serve and honored to be vice chairwoman of this awesome board. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for serving. And if I could get Commissioner Keefe and Commissioner Lancaster, if they would escort Commissioner Council down.
I'll bring it down.
Oh, Charles, he's gonna get in trouble later on. And Commissioner Council has served this county in many ways in education as well as in a leadership role many times on this board. And again, we want to thank you, and you can bring that over, and Jimmy, if you'll hold that forward, and for you to be able to have that. Want to present this to you for all the work that you've done for this county, and continue to, don't be smelling up that, and all the work you continue to do for this county. It would not be right not to celebrate Women's History Month without bringing you up and saying thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a privilege for me to serve the citizens of Cumberland County. And you may notice that all the rest are men. I have served with 6 men. Now, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. I only served with 5. But this is a joy, it's a pleasure. We don't always agree on everything, but that's the way it's supposed to be. If we all thought the same, you wouldn't need 7 of us, okay? But we get along together with our different ideas. Thank all of you for coming out tonight. We always want visitors. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I am very happy that you have done this. It's the first time in 20 years.
All right, come on.
And you know, there's a lot of people probably on TV and everywhere else yelling at me thinking I missed something. But see, I know how to do this thing. You remember I told you it's a poor frog that won't croak in his own pond, right? So I'm not crazy. My wife is a Superior Court judge here in Cumberland County. And I would be remiss not to recognize her. And Judge Whitfield came to accept her flowers on her behalf. Judge Whitfield, if you come on up. If I want to go home tonight, she's in I can go home tonight though, either way, because she's in Onslow County tonight holding court this week in Onslow County. But we wanted to make sure I was not going to not recognize her for all the things that she does. She's a Navy veteran. She was a prosecutor. She was a public defender in this community and now serves as a Superior Court judge right here in Cumberland County. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of all the women that I serve with and all the women elected officials in this community. That's why I asked you to stay. I think it's always important for people to be able to see someone that looks like them, right? You all were talking about it earlier about celebrating Women's History Month. And so we would be remiss if we didn't do that. So I'm going to let Judge Whitfield have a word or two on her behalf.
As Commissioner Adams said, our jobs as judges is to serve the people and do the people's business. And sometimes the people's business is beyond the 4 walls of Cumberland County. And I stand here proudly to get this from Ms. Adams, and I will make sure Judge Adams receives this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more honorees? Are there any more honorees?
Oh, I had some glasses somewhere. I'll get these glasses, I won't be able to see. All right. Thank you all so much. And anybody who wants to go ahead, and I know y'all want to leave, and she's got school tomorrow. That will take us to our public comment period. And that will take us to our public comment period. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers? Oh, wait a minute, let me go to Madam Manager first with our rules for the public comment period.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. The public comment period is an opportunity once a month for the Commissioners to hear the concerns of our citizens. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make their remarks. No time may be yielded to another speaker. We ask that each speaker give their name and address as they approach the lectern. Thank you.
We wait one moment. I think our timer is outside getting our you ready? You over here on this side? Okay. You have a speaker, Madam Clerk?
Chairman and Commissioners, this evening we have 4 speakers. Our first speaker is Norma Negron Bynum.
Welcome.
Good evening. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be here, and I especially want to thank Mr. Chairman for allowing me to have a meeting with him prior to me coming here. And so he is abreast of some of the things that I'm concerned about. My name is Norma Negron Bynum. The address is 2212 Hope Mills Road in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28304. My husband and I are the owners of Renew Counseling. We provide mental health and behavioral health and substance abuse services. I'm here because I have some of the concerns that we have with our city and our members and our clients. We are seeing people overdose. We are seeing people commit suicide. We are seeing people not make it through our program, through our substance abuse program. And there are 3 things that I'm really concerned about, and I would like to know how you guys can help in the future. One is that Recovery Innovations that took over the Roxy detox facility has been open for almost 2 years. They've got the crisis side open for 24 hours, but they have yet to open the detox part. And so no one can go into a residential program without going into detox. 2 years down the line, here we are, and we're in the same situation, and I can't understand why if they got the contract. Alliance also got an agency called One Care Cumberland. Alliance picked 5 agencies to be part of One Care Cumberland. Renew Counseling Center is one of those agencies. In last year, after we committed to so many meetings and so much of our staff time, we got 37 referrals in 1 year. We are the only out of the 5 agencies that provides MAT, which is medication-assisted treatment. So we couldn't understand those numbers. And this year so far, we have 11. With the pandemic that we have in Cumberland County with our drug users, I can't understand if we are one of the 5 agencies that provide services and the only one that provides MAT, how could we possibly get 11 referrals since the beginning of this year? Why waste so much money on programs that are not working and shift those monies to programs that do work? We all know that recently the state gave Cumberland County over $400 million. $1 million were given to an agency that does not have any clinical staff. How could that possibly happen? I am here for everyone who has lost a loved one due to an overdose because they couldn't find treatment. I am here for someone who committed suicide because they couldn't get the help they needed. And I'm just saying that we have to do better. In the past, I've been in business for 9 years, and I never wanted to do this and create all this attention to Renew Counseling Center. But I feel that I have to do this, and I'm going to continue to do this. And so I will ask for individual meetings, if you guys allow me to do that, so that I can get some answers for this. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our second speaker this evening is Mr. David Williams.
Mr. Williams? Take your time. My knees like that, too.
Good evening. My name is David Williams. I live at 4583 Santa Rosa Road in Eastover. What was the other thing that you asked us to share with the?
That's it,
That's
just
good.
your name
You're
and
good.
address.
I'm here because of treatment I received from one of our agencies. That agency happens to be the small claims area. I had a contract with a company that come into my home anytime something is not working. And the gentleman came and he fixed my outlet. But only after telling me that the company had denied it because it was an overload. I don't care what it is, I want it fixed. That's what I want. But he fixed it for me. He said he could fix my refrigerator, he didn't do it. Ultimately ended up in small claims court because he took my money. I gave him initially $140 to buy the parts. Then when he came back, supposedly with the parts, he said that would be $390. So I wrote him a check for the $390. Left my house, I didn't hear from him anymore. I come to small claims court thinking that somehow somebody's going to help me there to recoup money that he took from me without providing the service. Ironically, they did the same thing he did to me, small claims. They sent me to the financial office. I paid them $97. Came back, they gave me the paperwork, told me to take it over to the sheriff's office. They charged me $30. I left that office on the 27th, I think, of December. About 15 minutes, they called me and they said, Mr. Williams, we're sorry, but you need to come back, pick up the paperwork, and you need to take it to an adjacent county, which is Harnett County. I said, yes. I came back. I got paperwork, took it to Harnett County, gave it to them. They very politely gave it back to me. Same paperwork I had to fill out. Then they charged me $129. I was not alarmed by that because I thought the county in which I live would refund my money. They didn't give me a product. They didn't give me a service. But they took my money and they told me that I would not get a refund at all. Two things I'm asking. One is I'm asking for a refund on my money, and I'm asking, secondly, and most importantly, that this practice stop of charging an individual and not giving them anything and saying, we're not going to give you a refund.
Thank you,
when
sir.
you didn't give me a product nor a service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our third speaker this evening is Vicki Mullins.
Ms. Mullins?
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
My name is Vicki Mullins. I live at 5905 Turnbull Road, and I'm probably getting ready to beat a dead horse. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing it. Gen X. I'm tired of carrying water. This is the 2000s. This is 2022. And I'm carrying water at 60-some years old. It's ridiculous. I understand that there's a court battle. I understand all the mess that's going on. But that does not help me carrying water. Think of it this way. Yes, they want us to give us cards. Think about this. As y'all are sitting here, we have to load it in the buggy. So you're going to load it in the buggy. You're going to take it out of the buggy. You're going to put it back on the conveyor belt. Then you're going to take it back off of there and you're going to put it back in the buggy. Then you're going to get to your car and you're going to load it again. Then you're going to get home and you're going to unload it again. Do y'all see this? This has been going on long enough. And besides that, with this Gen X, there is all these areas. I'm not in Grays Creek. I'm in Cedar Creek, which is across the river, which it has spread. This stuff is went airborne. I'm a beekeeper. It's killing our bees. I'm telling y'all, something has got to be done, and it's got to be done soon, because I've been in meetings, well, right at 5 years. Mr. Larry sat with me in some in Bladen County. I mean, we've been fighting this. It's time to end it, and it's time for Chemours to be responsible for this and us not to have to pay because of their fault. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final speaker this evening is Mike Waters.
Mr. Waters, come right on up.
Hello, I'm Michael Waters, 6975 Point East Drive, right across the street from our good neighbors, the Chemours facility. That is the most insulting commercial I've ever seen in my life. Thank you very much to you, Rick Moorfield, correct?
Yes.
No?
No, commissioners made that decision.
Okay, but regardless, it took intestinal fortitude to file a lawsuit against Chemours and DuPont. Haven't seen it yet, would love to see it. Made a recommendation, kind of like Josh Stein when he filed. He actually posted what was filed so we can see it. Highly recommend that. I represent, as you know, Grays Creek Resident United is Sampson County, Bladen County, and Cumberland County. I represent over 9,000 people now. And now I'm reaching into New Hanover County, Pender County, Columbus County, and Sampson County. There's over 11,000 contaminated wells. They go in and they'll tell you it's about 6,000. No, it's not. The groundwater standards specify what is permitted in a well as contamination, and that's detection level, not the stuff that was put in to the consent order. I have had public records request into North Carolina DEQ asking what the practical quantitation limit is for those chemicals listed in the consent order since 2019. They won't answer it. Do you know why? The minute they answer that, the consent order is illegal. They never notified anybody that they were going to lower the standards. 2 part per trillion is what the detection level is for most of the PFAS. Like I said, Eastover, Otteryville, it's not just Grays Creek. The 1.5 million gallons the PWC would commit to is enough for Alderman and Grays Creek Elementary School. It will not reach the entire community that's on that chart. I commend you guys for what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing, but we need to do more. The filing is a good thing. I hope we can see actually what was filed. You hired the right firms, I'll tell you that. And it's going to take taking on DuPont and Chemours. They aren't good neighbors. That wall that they put in, if you talk to residents and look at their wells now, the levels are going up on the other side of the river. It's jumped in the wells, so that blockage of water, that's why they're putting a filtration system in now to filter the water they've blocked up, and it's pushing it towards our neighborhoods again, not through the air, through the Black Creek Aquifer and unfortunately the superficial aquifer, which I'm getting my water from. It's already killed me. I've got leukemia now. So, yeah, you guys can wait me out till I die, but believe me, if I die, I'm going to hold people accountable. I'm going to haunt the hell out of people. I'm asking you to do as much as you can, and it may be deep well injection wells. The 27th, I meet with North Carolina State to find out how deep do we need to go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Waters, and thank you for your concern. All right, any other speakers?
There are no further speakers.
All right, that will close the public comment period. We will move to the approval of the agenda. Madam Manager?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I would ask that we remove item 4D from the agenda. We need to continue to work on that agreement. We'll bring it back at a later time.
4D?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Commissioners, I sent everyone an email to add a nomination and appointment for the Southeastern Economic Development Corporation, and if we could add that to the agenda. I think we need to have a vote on that, Mr. Moorfield, to add it to the agenda. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All righty, thank you. And then we will move to approve the agenda. All of those in favor of the agenda? Oh, I gotta have a motion. I guess I need a motion. With the deletion, yes. If I can get a motion, it's got to move by Mr. Commissioner Booth. If I can get a second by Commissioner Stewart. All of those in favor?
Unanimous.
That will take us to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, I'll call for a motion and a second on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval of the consent agenda. All of those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. I think that takes us down to public hearings, which is the closure of the H. Getty Avenue and a portion of East Home Street. Is that with the
Mr.
manager?
Moorfield.
Oh, Mr. Moorfield.
Commissioners, you've heard the adopted a resolution of intent to consider this closure back at your February 21st meeting. It takes a month because we have to advertise it for 3 successive weeks. But I reported to you at that time, and you found in the resolution that the requirements for conducting a public hearing to consider this had been met. All the adjoining landowners to the rights of way or easements that are to be, for which the request is made, signed the petition. It is not maintained by the Department of Transportation. In fact, the rights of way or easements have never been opened in the Hollywood subdivision. No individual owning property in the vicinity of the rights of way or easements to be closed would be deprived of a reasonable means of ingress or egress to their property. And the resolution you adopted had maps and stuff of that to indicate all that. I have examined all those documents and followed up on this and report to you that all the matters necessary for you to have to meet the legal requirements have been met. The attached order includes the order of confirmation for advertising from the Fayetteville Observer. We need to do the publisher's affidavit, but that was not available, and I will attach that as an item of information to the April 18th meeting, so it'll be a permanent record made of it. The other document attached is the notice, affidavit of notice of the posting of the public notice of the public hearing and a resolution. If you, after the public hearing, you are satisfied that all the statutory conditions have been met, I would recommend the board adopt the order of closure, which will be recorded in the Register of Deeds. And I know there's at least one person here to speak. Is that correct?
That is
Madam Clerk?
correct.
And you open the public hearing here from that person.
Thank you, Mr. Moorfield. We will open the public hearing on the closure of H. Getty Avenue and a portion of East Home Street. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
We have one speaker who signed up in favor, Mr. Wayne Dudley.
Mr. Dudley, come right on up. I'm doing fine.
Wayne Dudley, 1014 Sunset. I'm just here to concur with the county attorney, and this is an older subdivision that started out, was never finished. Unfortunately, there's some roads that were platted but never built, so there's just paper streets that are just lingering out there that just need to be closed. So that's what we're doing here tonight, trying to close it and make some good recommendations here.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Are there any other speakers?
There are no further speakers.
I will close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have any questions or concern? If not, I will entertain a motion that the board is satisfied that all statutory conditions have been met and that we adopt the attached order of closure, which is to be recorded in the Register of Deeds.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
And that is unanimous.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dudley. That takes us to our zoning case. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. I'd like to recognize Mr. Rawls Howard, our Planning and Inspections Director, to introduce case zoning 220029.
Thank you very much, Madam Manager. Commissioners, before I get started, I'd like to take this opportunity to be able to recognize Mr. Stan Crumpler, our Planning Board Chairman, who's right here behind me in the audience. All right, let's see if I can get this rolling. You good? All right. So as the manager stated, this is zoning case ZON 22-0029, I should say. You can see where the case is located by the star on the location map in front of you. It is off of or just southeast of the Hope Mills jurisdiction in the Grays Creek area. Give you a little bit more background information. The applicant owner is Mr. William R. Holmes. The agent is Mr. Scott Brown, who I believe is also in the audience right here today to speak on the case. The request is to go from A1 agricultural district to R15 residential district. The intent is to basically to build a single-family subdivision. As you can see, it would essentially be a continuation of the existing subdivision that you see here, which I believe, I don't know if I can get I guess I can do it by the pointer here, is the Cypress Crossing subdivision that you see here. If you look at the zoning of the site, or I should say what's surrounding it, it's primarily vacant land, and as I said before, this would be an extension of the existing subdivision that is here, taking the access off of LaGuardia Drive, which curves around here, and then would access the site here to further extend it. The site itself is, has some manufactured homes, single-family homes, but is, and some vacant property that is around it. So you have the Cypress Crossing subdivision that is here, and then the Cypress Landing subdivision, which is to its southwest. When we looked at the zoning, as the subdivision to the southeast, Cypress Crossing is zoned R15, so the request staff feels would correspond to the existing zoning of the Cypress Crossing subdivision here. Cypress Landing is a conditional R20, but you can see it's A1. There are some, it's sort of a smattering of a lot of different types of residential districts out here. You can see R20 here, R40, R10 here, that's on Cypress Lakes Road. I will point out that the site itself is accessed currently with one site that comes in off of Delancey Drive here, so there's one access to the overall subdivision. That comes out to, I believe it's South Forks Road, and then you could take that either north to Sand Hill or to Cypress Lakes Road that's down here below. So off the map, which you can't see, is the access for Cypress Lakes Road here, and then Sand Hill up here. It kind of goes through the existing neighborhoods to the main road here, which joins these two. There are no hydric soils out here, so they're really good soils. Actually, we had to go back and make sure that we were seeing that correctly, because typically we see hydric soils all over the place. There's no hydric soils out here. And it also has ready access to water and sewer lines through the existing subdivision that you see that are stubbed out right here at the end. When staff looked at the plans for this area, it is subject to the South Central Land Use Plan, which was adopted in 2015. It designates it as low-density residential. When you look at the policies within that plan, it does contemplate 2.2 to 6 units per acre being acceptable, which this is. It also outlines that R15 and R7.5 would be acceptable zoning districts, and that water and sewer should be available for any types of residential developments that are in this area, as long as the density is greater than 2 units per acre, which of course this is as well. So staff felt it was absolutely compliant with the land use plan, and we moved it forward to the planning board accordingly with that recommendation. So this is standing at the subject property. This is at the dead end of the LaGuardia Drive. So you can see the sign, which we post in conformance with state statutes, but this is the dead end that would look into the property. This is standing looking to the northeast. You can see that this is the fence line behind the house that sits just right here on this lot here. So the property, like the road, would continue this way through and into the woods. This is actually standing on the woods looking back into the subdivision. You can see it's a typical single-family subdivision. This is the south view. Again, the road here continuing on this way where the sign is. You can see the back with the fence line with the houses that sit on the other side of the road. So with that being said, staff did support the request when it went to the planning board. There was a lot of discussion about it, but ultimately the planning board had recommended denial by a split vote of 4-3. If there are any questions, I'll try to be able to elaborate and answer what I can.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Keefe.
Thank you. So where is the access going to be for this new property? where's it gonna be coming in from? If you
It'll
can
be
hit it on the
coming-
pointer, can you hit it on that pointer?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, right here. It'd be coming in off LaGuardia right there. That's, so far would be, the only way in and out is through this subdivision, or this road here through the subdivision. It would come off LaGuardia and into here.
I read the documentation, and, you know, Mr. Howard, it's, planning board and planning staff not getting together is happening way too often. I mean, it's frustrating for us that there's no consensus on this thing, but this is R15 surrounded by R15 and R20. How long has that neighborhood in the R15 been there?
That's a good question. So when we look at the case history for his, we have that the Cypress Crossing, which is right here, was adopted or looked at as a case P05, so that would have been 2005.
And it's been there. Because normally, in this sort of situation, I tend to, if it was a standalone property, I tend to go with a higher, or actually a lower density. But it seems consistent with the property that's contiguous on two sides of it. And of course, there is a concern, and I'm sure that the others that have A1 are concerned with encroachment as it goes forward. But did the planning board have anything other than this was the southeast plan, and that's what you based your decision on? Because it seems like the planning staff stays with that, the planning board doesn't so much.
Well, through the course of the discussion at the meeting, which you'll probably, which I won't say probably, you'll definitely hear from the applicant, is that the primary concern were flooding issues on the site. This is not located in any floodplain or any identifiable wetlands that we could be able to see, but I think there were concerns already with the existing neighborhood that's R15. They were mentioning that some of the homes that back up to this property that, which Mr. Scott Brown will tell you that when they built the sites up, it kind of created like a divot in the back, which is, you know, like typical when you try to build platforms and, you know, foundation sites for homes. You got to build the land up a little bit to flatten it out to put a home on top of it. When that happened, there were some flooding issues that were observed, at least from the neighbors. And I think that the concern was exacerbating any kind of existing flooding concerns that are already there. Would it be more prevalent if these 14 or so homes would go in that are being proposed?
Is there any requirement for flood mitigation on a 6-acre property?
If there's not any identifiable flood plain, then no, that there wouldn't be things where you have to raise it up to the, you know, like the base flood elevation or any of that other kind of stuff. No, sir. There would have to be some basic engineering that would have to go into effect, you know, to meet the stormwater requirements that the state would impose. Okay.
And finally, Mr. Chair, thanks. One last question. This would not be part of the existing neighborhood there. It'll be operating as a separate. It's not an extension of this property. It's a separate development.
It'd be a separate HOA.
That's
the way we understand it.
But utilizing the road to get in of the neighborhood, is that right?
Correct. It's a public street that's owned by the DOT. It's not a private road.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner,
Before y'all go any further, particularly call the public hearing, let me get something clarified for the record. This is presented that the planning board did not make a recommendation in this case. The action taken by the planning board was actually a motion to approve it, which did not pass, but they did not take any other action. So there was, the motion to approve did not pass, and no motion to deny was made. So it really was, there really is no direction from the planning board on this matter. And
I'm not sure that's better.
Well, we need to clarify that before you conduct a public hearing. And this is an unusual situation. I wasn't at that meeting. I was at the.
But evidently they thought they had denied it, because the very last sentence says the rezoning request was denied. That's the very last sentence in case, if you look at it. I mean, that's the very last sentence. So they thought they denied it. Now, whether they did that or not, that was their intent. I'm just reading what's right there.
I understand what they meant. So I'm just saying by the action itself. I just want to make sure that's clarified for the record and everybody understands that.
Commissioner Booth.
Thank you, sir. Well, does that mean we can even do anything then if it hasn't come to us the proper channel with a recommendation?
Well, I mean, it's like you always can. You can send it back to the planning board, but as Chairman pointed out, I think the planning board thought they denied it, but there was no motion made to deny it.
Well, if it was
we're going on thoughts.
4 or 5 against the motion to approve, I'm guessing that and versus to not approve. Yeah, so, it's- all right.
Not under zoning law, no, sir.
Okay, I have just a couple of questions. On the, those photos right there. Now, is the R15 neighborhood have water, or are they still in the water accessible or water available group?
No, they have water and sewer through the subdivision.
Okay?
Mhm.
And is there any requirement that this have it, not just looking into it because it's available?
We have requirements in the ordinance that if you're within a certain distance, that you have to be able to provide the water and sewer. And it's touching at their doorstep. That if you subdivide property, that there has to be an allowance for the water and sewer provision.
Okay, so they would have to have water and sewer
Mhm.
in there.
But
It's based off a certain number of lots if you're subdividing. Like the more you go up, or then like the smaller the distance becomes. I think in this particular case, it would be like within 300 feet. But again, the water and sewer is sitting right at the doorstep of the property.
Okay. And do you have any photos of not where there's houses, like the A1 that circles around 50+% of the property?
No, we don't have those photos, just because typically we just take them at the area that we can readily access. Otherwise, we would have to be doing some pretty serious,
Four-wheeler.
yeah, right, in order to get those kind of photos. I mean, because if you notice, there's not a lot of road access for these out here. We have to go to where we can be able to get ready access.
Planning board need a drone.
That's dangerous.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead, Commissioner. Your eighth grade teacher go, you have to hit the button.
I'm sorry, I'm raising my hand. I'm sorry. But, I'm still stuck at, we thinking that what the planning board decided. I'm kind of stuck on that. I'm kind of stuck on how we're going to decide, how we're going to move forward when we don't know what the planning board really intended.
We have the chairman here, if you'd like.
Well, that's all well and good.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. But the board, the board did not, they're thinking one thing, we're thinking one thing that the board decided on.
Right.
When we really don't know.
Yeah, it even says up there, planning board recommends denial.
So I want to know, how can we justly approve or deny something, not knowing what their intentions are? So if you can help me with that one, then we can move forward.
Well, at the end of the meeting, we definitely took it the way that you took it, Mr. Chairman, is that...
Okay, but see, you're saying we took it.
Right.
You're saying that we took it, you're saying that we're probably this and probably that. I probably got $1 million. Probably. But what I'm saying is, it just doesn't make sense. Now, good, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being here, but he's not the board.
Okay.
So I want to make a motion.
Well, let me ask one question so I can get my question answered, and then you can send it back. I know that's going to be your motion, so that I don't have a problem with that at all. Here's the question I have. I just have, and it tends to be a question I have on each one of these. In this district, because of the A1, the general intent of this district is to permit all agriculture uses to exist free for most private urban development. But then we turn around and say this is low density, which means you can build all of this on top of it. The plan seems to be in conflict. I mean, how do we justify that? I mean, that's what the district says right here in the zoning. But then we say it's low density, which you can build these houses. It just seems to be in conflict. That may be a question for another day we'll talk about, but that's an issue I think that we somewhere need to resolve. Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion that we send this item back to our planning board and come up with a solid decision on this.
For clarity, yeah.
I second.
All right, it's been a motion to send it back to the planning board and seconded to get clarification. Got Commissioner Keefe.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we got people out here that came to time out of their day for a public hearing. I think the intention of the planning board was pretty clear. It says it in a couple different ways. I think we need to do what we were elected to do and make a decision on this tonight. The people are here. Let's listen to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Evans, I saw it.
And I understand what Commissioner Keefe is saying, but I think in all fairness to everyone involved with this situation, including ourselves, we can't have people at home looking at us saying we're going on a maybe. We're making decisions on a maybe. We do not know, and it's not fair. So I think that the motion should rise and stand, because it's not fair to anyone that come before this board and want to get something done, and we just gonna guess at what the planning board has said. Planning board should have made a decision.
And there is a motion on the floor to send it back to the planning board for clarity.
Mr. Chair, can I respond to Commissioner, since he spoke twice?
You spoke twice too, but go ahead, Commissioner Keefe.
The planning board is an advisory board to the county commissioners. It is up to us to make the decision. It doesn't matter what they say, because this board has gone against the planning board many, many times and gone with the planning board. So I don't understand why we are delaying this and inconveniencing a whole lot of people to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to send this back to the planning board for clarity. All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Lancaster, Council Stewart, Chairman Adams, Commissioner Evans, and Booth. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Keefe.
And to all of those who come, we apologize for it, but we want to do it right, to make sure it's done right and done in the proper order. What I would request, and I think this board would request, Mr. Moorfield, is that some attorney, we got how many up there? How many we got up there?
We got 3.
We got 3 attorneys up there.
we had a-
One of them needs to be at the planning board meeting. We won't have this issue in front of us. Thank you so very much. Thank all of you all for coming, and we do apologize for the inconvenience for tonight. But we would ask, Mr. Crumpler's here. I think he's the chairman of that board. They will get it, and the planning director will get it quickly back before them, make a decision and get it back to us as soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's what, I do have this. One of my commissioners asked, everybody who was interested in that case, if you would please stand. They just want to know how many people. All right. Thank you.
Is there no opportunity to support? Is there no opportunity to speak?
Not tonight.
No, okay.
Not tonight. Thank you, though. All righty. That takes us to item 4, which is the items of business. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, item 4A is consideration of the proposed budget schedule for fiscal year 2023 budget work sessions and the public hearing. And so before you this evening, we have a draft tonight for your consideration, and our thought would be to present the budget to the board on Thursday, May 26th. Following that, we would have a work session on Wednesday, June 1st. And then we would hold the required public hearing on Monday, June 6th. And then we have other budget sessions scheduled Wednesday, June 8th, Monday, June 13th, and Wednesday, June 15th if needed. And again, this is a draft for your consideration and approval.
Any commissioner have any input?
I move that we accept the schedule as presented,
Second.
as printed. Thank you.
All right. It's been moved in second. Just checking my calendar. It's been, well, on the 15th of June, does the, oh, that's another convention that I got to do. There's another convention. All right. It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right. Thank you. That takes us to the consideration of the formal bid award. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This Board of Commissioners has had a great interest in expanding broadband into the rural areas of our county. An grant opportunity recently opened. It was the Growing Rural Economies with Access to Technology grant, or the GREAT grant. And as you know, counties are not eligible applicants. internet service providers are the only eligible applicants, but counties can partner with any of these ISPs. So the purchasing office conducted a formal bid process. We sent out a request for proposal seeking interest from internet service providers. We received 2 proposals. One proposal was considered non-responsive. The Brightspeed proposal was considered responsive and met all the specifications. This evening, we put the actual response from Brightspeed at your seat. To tell you a little bit of information about this, the total project costs are recommended by Brightspeed are $7.5 million. And by doing so, they will actually touch 2,017 locations with a cost per premise of about $3,700. And here's how that $7.5 million is broken down. They'll apply for the maximum grant award of $4 million. They're asking for a $1 million match from the county. The ARP committee heard this last Monday, I believe, and they have committed $1 million of ARP funds. And then Brightspeed will make a contribution to the project of $2.5 million. And so these 2017 locations are from Cedar Creek Road to the Beaver Dam Turnbull area. That's one area. It will also be spread through the Grays Creek area, which does not have internet service at this time. It'll also go down into the Hope Mills area, the Rockfish Road area, all the way to the Hope County line and pick up that rural area. It also picks up in the town of Wade and goes up to the Harnett County line, and it also will serve the Linden area. And so this evening, we are asking the board to approve the bid number 22-24-CTY to Brightspeed and authorize the execution of the memorandum of agreement either from the chairman or the county manager, and that will establish the partnership between the county and Brightspeed, and this also includes $1 million of ARP funds.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? And if not, you have one?
She has one too.
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
to know how
Commissioner
long,
Council.
I can't find it, how long it would take.
So the grant is due April the 4th. That's why we're bringing it for you tonight, because we need to go ahead and move this forward. And so I'm not quite sure about the grant deadline. I think there's a fairly quick turnaround because there's another grant opportunity a little bit later in summer or late fall.
Commissioner Booth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was the same question because I'd heard about a deadline or a possible deadline, and I just want to make sure we don't miss that.
That's why we brought it
A lot of
forward.
upset people getting on their Wi-Fi when they eventually get it saying, you messed up. Good, so.
If I can get a motion to approve bid number 22-24 CTY to Brightspeed and authorize the chairman to sign a memorandum of agreement establishing a partnership with Brightspeed, which includes the required matching funds of $1 million of ARP funds.
That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
That takes us to consideration of health insurance plan recommendation. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask our Finance Director, Vicki Evans, to come forward. This item was a rather lengthy item at the agenda session. The vote was not unanimous, and so that's why we're bringing it forward today or this evening as an item of business.
It says 3 minutes right there, madam. No, I'm only joking.
I'll keep it short. I'll keep it short.
I'm only joking.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So on March 10th at the agenda session, Kevin Quinn, who is our broker with USI, he presented health insurance renewal options as long as provided an update on the year-to-date costs that we've incurred, as well as a cost projection for fiscal year 2023. So along with that, some options for renewal were provided. However, action was taken to do the following, and that was met with majority consensus to keep the $1,000 deductible health reimbursement account for the general fund to absorb the first $2 million of the risk of the total $4.4 million projected cost increase, and the remainder to be absorbed through a per position budgeted increase, and incorporate this into the fiscal year 2023 budget process. And the board also provided consensus to accept the renewal for Delta Dental and Amwins. So if you have questions or need additional detail, I'll be able to help.
Commissioner Keefe.
Thank you. Well, I'm the reason it's here. So I have a couple comments first. One, I think it's important that everybody understands that $1,000 deductible is on the health savings plan, that if you are on the program that you can use this card. But the fact of the matter is, health insurance is not what health insurance was 10 years ago, when we were all blessed with $500 deductibles and possibly $1,000 deductibles at the absolute maximum. Right now, a family that may be on the health insurance, and I'm not sure how many, the commissioners are voting on this, or I'm not sure how many are participating in this, but a family, by the time they pay the deductible and the copays and all the other thing and the premium that goes with it, could very easily spend $8,000 in a year before this insurance ever kicks in to reach that deductible. And although some may think that that's still good and that's what the purpose of the insurance is, we have a number of people that work with us that the idea of having an $8,000 bill for health insurance before health insurance kicks in, as one of my colleagues said a little while ago, what good is it if you can't afford it or you can't use it? So if my numbers are right, only 21% of the people that were on the health insurance plan actually took advantage of being able to get through to the deductible. I believe that number was kind of right. Somebody said does that sound right?
There's a total of 68 members, so that could be non-employees as well, who have put in a request to be reimbursed for some portion of the 1,068 people.
Yeah, 68 people. So the only thing that I would ask is, this affects families, this affects individuals with us. We're making this decision, but what is best for their family? Nobody knows what's best for their family than them. And we're really good at surveys. And to have these high deductibles, it's really not the benefit other than the safety net for our employees. We try to say, take care of yourself, go to the doctor, do these things, but the health insurance is not helping as much as it could. So, I would be curious to what our staff and our employees would rather have. I'm not asking for any additional money, but possibly paying a higher premium to get a lower deductible so they can have it. And we all sit on the hospital board, and a lot of times these high deductibles, they just don't get paid. The hospital just doesn't have it. Our employees then get nasty grams from collection agencies for all this stuff, and it's just a revolving door of pain and suffering that comes not only with medical but mental abuse to our staff. So I would ask that maybe we delay, we still have a little bit of time, and ask the staff to take a survey of some of the people that are on our health insurance to see what they want, other than us making that decision right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? I would add it, only because he asked about delay. Where would we be on, and I don't know what kind of delay you're talking about, what kind of survey, but at least I think to be able to have a vote that makes sense to everybody is what that delay would be and what would it do with the health insurance, and what's the leeway and the time to be able to do that.
Okay, so all of that impacts Blue Cross Blue Shield setup. as far as their renewal of our insurance to be effective on July 1st. So that would delay them getting set up. So last year, if you'll remember, there was some action taken at the end of May, but beginning of June, which resulted in the $1,000 reimbursement because Blue Cross could not get it in place by July 1st. And July 1st being our plan year beginning is the time that changes have to be made by. And so I think that, so they're ready to start building it into their system now. And if we delay it, we still face the same challenges that we talked about last year, like potential for people not to be covered on July 1st, insurance cards not going out by July 1st as they normally do. That doesn't mean they're not going to be covered. It's just going to mean that when they go to the doctor, their insurance coverage will not be reflected in Blue Cross Blue Shield if our plan is not loaded in Blue Cross's system.
So that means you have to pay up front and then get reimbursed?
Yes.
Or- Okay. Commissioner Keefe, I saw you beating that thing to death.
So
down
4
there.
days ago, we were presented this, and we're making a decision on it 4 days later, and now that doesn't allow us time to do that? Did they just accept that we were going to just accept what the consultant said, and they've moved on, and those are their numbers? I can't understand why 4 days makes that much difference.
Well, the delay wouldn't be for this, whenever we could come back, I guess.
But they're assuming that we are going to take the consult. You had questions, I had questions on this, that if it was going to be changed, they would have to go back anyway.
Commissioner Stewart.
My question is, how much time do they need to do what they need to do? It's March, and if we delay, they won't be able to get it out by July?
I'm looking at the calendar now for April. Okay, so if we have a meeting on April 4th and we have a meeting on April 18th. Just right now, this is just me, but I believe April, well, there's also budget considerations too.
So, can I?
Madam Manager.
May I ask for clarification? Because I want to make sure I understand what Commissioner Keefe is asking. And so we're facing for next fiscal year roughly a projected $4 million deficit. So the recommendation was to take $2 million out of general fund balance, hoping that the impact of COVID kind of levels off, and then to increase the employer match by the other $2.3 million. So that's one thought. And then, so Commissioner Keefe, if you're asking us to survey the employees, what you're asking us is we would still keep this recommendation because, and ask the employees if they want to pay higher monthly and then see what we can do to reduce the the deductible.
Madam
Is that
Chair,
correct?
Madam Manager, you said it right, okay?
Okay. They're two
I'm not
separate
asking
issues.
to mess with the money. I'm still in support
Okay.
of the $2 million subsidy that we will be giving for this. So not messing with the money. Just
Okay.
finding out what the difference is between an increased premium as opposed to a lower deductible.
Okay, so that helps me. I just wanted to make sure, because this is one issue. We need to know this piece so that we can go ahead and start loading the budget. This other piece would not impact the budget.
Yep.
So Vicki, looking at the calendar, do we have any time in there to quickly do this survey, even if it's at a regular meeting and not the agenda session, to come back?
We can make it work.
Okay. What meeting, can we talk about a meeting?
That's one commissioner. I have to, Commissioner Council.
I had an appointment that day. I think I didn't hear the presentation, but my notes say it's $2 million from the general fund.
That's
That's
correct.
correct. 2 million from the general fund, and then the other 2.3 increases the ongoing employer contribution.
Okay.
But that $4 million does not impact the deductibles.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Would you need a motion to request that, Mr. Chair?
Well,
or
I guess I'll make sure that everybody understands. So, well, you could, before you make the motion, if you kind of state what you want, so the
Okay.
commissioners will kind of understand it and the manager understand it, and we can figure it out.
Sure.
It's because the question is, approving this wouldn't change the deductible part.
So could we approve
You can
this?
approve this and
Yes.
still do the survey and change the,
Yes, sir.
you're just moving one way or the other. Okay.
everything that
That's good.
everything that the manager said and everything that we're talking about money-wise still stays in
That's
place.
right, that's right.
Okay, so,
Wait a minute, I've got Commissioner Evans who has a
okay,
question.
sure.
Yeah, and I'm trying to understand this. I'm not in the insurance business, but I'm trying to understand this. But I thought the question was trying to lower the deductible for the employees. Was that the original question?
No, sir.
Was that the intent?
Well,
help
the
me
question
to
was, did the
understand.
employees, would they rather have a lower deductible and possibly a higher premium to balance those out, as opposed to this high deductible that many of them don't ever reach?
Okay.
I did-
And so staff would now do a survey of the employees to find out what it is that they would like.
Yes.
And we're gonna have time to get that done.
We can approve this tonight,
We'll
which
get it done.
loads the stuff into the system, and you can still, because that's just a matter of moving one or the other. So it will still be able to be done within that and still do this. So
Yep.
it balances out. It's like doing a survey to determine which one you want more than that. Yes.
And quite frankly, Mr. Chair, everything that's on this bullet
Right.
point is fine. It's good to go forward. Would you like to have that in a motion to include the survey? I think staff can do that without it.
Right,
If we
they can
just
do-
approve it,
Well, I would take a motion on all of these.
okay?
And then that after the survey, that the board would come back and review the survey in terms of making whatever recommendation on the deductible and
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we keep the $1,000 deductible health insurance, health reimbursement account. The general fund absorbed $2 million from the fiscal year 2023 budget cost risk through the fund balance transfer, and the remainder will be absorbed through a per-position budgeted increase. Incorporate this into the fiscal year 2023 budget process. I accept the Delta Dental's renewal with a negotiated cost increase of 3% and accept the Amwins renewal of the expected 5% at cost increase and request staff do survey of county employees on recommendations of premiums versus deductibles.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Voting in favor, Commissioners Lancaster, Council Stewart, Chairman Adams. That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Madam Manager.
That takes us to nominations. Madam Chairwoman. Yes.
Okay. For the Cumberland County Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority, I am looking for a motion.
No, you just nominating.
I'm just, okay, nominating the following: Timothy Richardson for his second term, Ronald Crosby Jr. for his second term, Melissa Bostic, Donald Brooks, Dr. Tracy Hines Lashley, Gary Silverman, and Dakota W. Wright.
All right. And we added the last nomination and appointment. We approved that, and we would, I would make a motion to nominate and appoint Ms. Amy Cannon to the Southeastern Economic Development Corporation. If I can get a second?
Second.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the handout on that,
Yes, well, wait, let me hand that.
it says term third. Is this will this be the third term?
Yes.
Or you're finishing a third term?
Well, let me see.
I think this would be a fourth term.
Yes.
Does that mean we extended it once already?
Yes.
But
Because I
this
was
time she's,
chairman.
Thank you for being
because she
honest.
was coming president, I think.
I was
the-
chairman.
She was the chairman at that point. Now she's the immediate past chairman and is on the executive committee.
Yeah, she needs.
Y'all won't have to extend mine. One of y'all can take my term when I leave. If I can get did I get a second?
Yes.
Oh, you got a question?
Yeah, I don't like it when the city does it. They tell you, Larry, you gotta go, you've had two in a row, and you go, thank you, thank you for your service. Tony, we're gonna ask for a third for you. And then Larry goes, well, why didn't anyone ask for a third one for me? Or why don't we just ask for a third, fourth, and fifth for everybody until, they die?
Yeah.
Plus, she's gotta drive all the way down to Elizabethtown the fourth Tuesday for a meeting at 10, so she's gotta leave here, not quite dark 30, and it says there's lunch served afterwards, and she comes back up here, so her fourth Tuesday's pretty much.
Commissioner Booth, I hear you. I think Commissioner Council's on that board. I'm on that board. We have all those same issues. And I think Mr. Van Giens is here too. He's on that board also. And we will tell you, I think that if it's done, the way that hopefully we will get some of the grants and some of those out of that organization, which benefits Cumberland County tremendously. And I think it's well worth it. I've been on that board for, I guess, I'll be going off on my second term or whatever. I think they were asking, based upon the fact that she is the immediate past chair of that and serves on that executive committee, and it's important to have somebody in that executive room
I'm the only
when
county
they're making that
manager.
decision.
I'm the only county manager on the executive
That's right.
committee, and that's why they want to keep me.
Yeah.
It's up to the board. They do, it is virtual. I've been doing it virtually to save time. I've been doing it virtually, and I don't stay for
So you
lunch.
second that?
It's Melvin's.
Okay, did I get a second?
I asked her without,
Sec-
I'm trying to ask her if she really wanted to do it, she said yes.
Yeah, see that.
Second.
It's been moved to second. All those in favor?
No, that's unanimous.
All righty. With that, we will, if I can accept the motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's pursuant to NCGS 143.318.11 subsection A. All of those in favor? And we will re-adjourn this up in room 564 upstairs. It is, I know y'all gotta have some bathroom bases, 8:18, if we can be up there at 8:30. Thank you. All right, we're back in closed session. If I can get a motion to go out of closed session. We've been moved and probably second to come out of closed session. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
If I can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We've been moved and seconded. There we go. That we adjourn. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.